This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
All right, Cindy. So open time to the public, and I know Cindy's on the docket, so go ahead.
Okay, Cindy Palmer, 71 Glendale Road, and I'm here as the chair of the Open Space Committee, and also with me for the same issue are Bridget Leckley from Kestrel Land Trust, as well as Mark Cassis from Community Preservation Committee. And I'm prepared to ask for two things. These two people that I just mentioned are the experts that can speak to specifics regarding this. But number one, I want to be sure that everybody understands that the Conservation Commission needs to request some additional funds, and that needs to go on the warrant for the upcoming annual town meeting, which I believe is May 7th. And it has to do with the Mountain Waters project. It's a kind of a unique situation where the funds would be reimbursed 100%. So I have drafted an application for those funds to go to CPC. It's been seen by Kestrel, and I think, Mark, you had a chance to see it. It's a draft, and we have to know under whose signature would it come. It comes from Conservation Commission. In the past, your previous chairperson was the one who was the contact person. So you need to let us know who that is. And hopefully tonight you can vote to have this go forward, if possible. Because CPC meets again this coming Wednesday, and everything has to happen in a timely way. So do you want to ask more questions now? Do you want Brittany or Mark to speak? Bridget or Mark to speak at this point, or what works for everybody? Or to see the draft?
I have no preference.
What do you think, Bridget?
I can just kind of give a quick recap, and then we can share the draft, or if Mark has more to add at that point. So as I think most people know, back in December at the special town meeting, we voted in all the outright costs that the town is going to be expending on the Mountain Waters project through CPA funding. That was approximately $420,000. What we neglected to account for at that time was the reimbursable costs the town would need to put out. That comes from the state grant funding. For those who don't know, the state grant is always a reimbursement grant. And so the town needs to front the costs first before the state funding comes to them. And so the way we've broken out the funding for this, approximately $250,000 or exactly $250,000 of state grant funding is going to the town for this conservation restriction that the Concom has expressed interest in holding on this piece of land. And so we just need to ensure that the town has authorization to front that $250,000 with CPA funding so that the state can then reimburse after the fact once the CR is purchased and put in place.
Why don't I show you it's a one-page application, and also includes some nice little tables. Can I do share screen, Brittany, or just, yeah?
Jake is running the Zoom. But yes, go ahead.
I think it's right here. Can you all see that? So it says essentially what Bridget just said, 2023 application for CPA funds. This background information was provided at that time. The Mountain Waters project initiated by the Open Space Committee on behalf of the Conservation Commission and the town of Southampton, and together with Kestrel Land Trust, is a large-scale effort to protect greater than 1,000 acres for wildlife habitat, agriculture, public recreation, and drinking water supply, mostly in Southampton, with smaller sections in West Hampton, Montgomery. The funding for the full Mountain Waters projects comes from a combination of sources, including a Massachusetts Landscape Partnership Grant, Mass Audubon, the Mass Division of Agriculture Resources, Kestrel, and private donors. Southampton citizens unanimously supported the expenditure of $420 $1,688 in CPA funds for the town's contribution split over fiscal year 24 and 25, which represents approximately 12% of the overall project costs at the December 23 special town meeting. While the CPA funding secured in 2023 fully covers the town's contributions, the Conservation Commission requests an additional $250,000 of CPA funds at the May 24 annual town meeting to secure the conservation restriction for one 25-acre parcel to be reimbursed in full from the state's landscape partnership grant. And so then there's this table here. I think I can do this right. Wait a minute. So there's a little table here. The costs for this 125-acre parcel is $1 million. There's due diligence of $15,000. The Kestrel Land Trust project cost, that's additional cost in there, is an additional $5,000, and the total is $1,020,000. Then funding, the $250,000 is reimbursable, and that's what Conservation Commission is requesting of CPA from CPA funds at this upcoming meeting. And the CPA funds that were already secured was $20,000. The pending private donor and foundation fundraising from Kestrel is $650,000. The landowner agreed to a bargain sale, so that reduced the cost. So that sort of explains how the funding occurs. And then it's a very important point to say that the town meeting warrant must reflect the contingency of securing the state and private funding for full reimbursement of the CPA money, and must be reviewed in advance with the state and town council. And then I sort of squeezed in the next thing, which is part of the CPA application. How much will your organization be contributing? And that'll be none from the Conservation Commission. And then the last sentence is just part of the application required by CPC. That's what we've got. What do you think?
So does this say that are we saying we already have the money coming in from the state grant, or do we need to be awarded the state grant?
We've already been awarded the state grant.
Okay.
We're still fundraising for that additional $650,000 cost.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really the pending portion. And so we're trying to, if this moves forward, make sure we word the vote that, the town wouldn't expend the $250,000 without Kestrel coming in with that private funding element.
Yep. So the town will be reimbursed for the $250K.
Correct.
Yep. And it's already been secured. So
and
easy.
that would go back to the CPC fund when it's reimbursed as a requirement of the law.
That's right. It wouldn't go into the town general fund. It would go back to CPC.
Is there a time frame?
This closing is scheduled for FY25, so June 30th of 2025 is when this purchase would happen, and then the reimbursement is usually within 30-60 days of that.
And it just has something to do with the fact that we can't spend money to buy land with the grant, or what?
So we can't. Yeah. Sorry. The town has to front that cost in order to get the state money back. So.
Okay.
So the town has to show that we've appropriated all the money possible to acquire that property, but we won't be using it all. Is that right?
Correct.
Well, it's $250,000 specifically.
Yeah, but it's still pending on Kestrel to raise the $650 private money.
Yeah.
So even though we've got the grant for the big project, we're still short the $650, right?
For this one CR, yes, we're still working on because it's such a high price tag.
Right.
So what happens if that funding isn't secured?
Well, the warrant should reflect that the whole thing falls apart for this particular CR if the funding isn't secured.
Yeah.
Okay. And the town would get the $250K back, right?
Absolutely. It wouldn't be expended. It wouldn't be expended until the funds are secured. Is that correct, Bridget?
Yes. Yep.
It would never leave the CPC fund.
Yep.
Without that amount secured, $650.
Yeah. So I see no risk being put on the town here. we're either going to get the money back from the state or we're just not going to spend the money at all. So,
Yep.
So what do you need? A motion? I'd like to make a motion that we approve.
Well, Dan,
this.
specifically the motion would have to, I hope you understood this part, that the motion would be that the Conservation Commission would put this request before CPC.
Right. I'm on the Conservation Commission.
Oh, good.
Oh, yeah, no, he's a member voting now, so.
Sorry.
He knows the drill.
Yeah, so I was going to make a motion that the Conservation Commission puts this motion in front of the CPC to request $250,000 in funding for the what is this, for a conservation restriction, which will be reimbursed from the state.
I'd like to second that motion.
Okay. All right. Sorry, I don't have all my names up here. Okay, all right. Jake, or any other comments or questions from any of the commission members? Going once, going twice. All right, we'll put it to a vote. Jake?
Aye.
Kathleen?
Aye.
Lexi?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
And myself? Aye. Okay.
This is Mark Cassis from 19 Fulmer Road on the CPC committee. Procedural question. One is, the committee just changed format of the form. I don't think it will be a problem, but if need be, I can work with someone to make sure the minor format changes get made. The second thing is, does anyone from the committee want to be at the meeting on Wednesday to present it? It will be an in-person committee on the town hall. We are starting at 6 o'clock for a community input on our general plan for CPC, and then formal meeting starts at 6:30. But it's a question of who, if anyone, should be there to present the request.
I unfortunately have to work. I don't know if anyone else is available.
May I be the one, or I can't really do it. I'm not on the Conservation Commission.
I'm happy there to, answer questions and such, but someone from the Concom.
I'm fine with that. If anybody else has a concern, I think you guys would be perfect for doing that, if you don't mind.
I'm generally the liaison between Concom and CPC. And I still haven't been to an in-person meeting yet since before Ray was born. So just sort of figuring out all that. But I'm happy to, I'll do my best to, I'll plan on being there on Wednesday. Is it the first part of the meeting that this would happen, or?
Well, the opening at 6 for input and for general community forum, and then formal meeting at 6:30. So 6:30, I guess, would be the best time if you were trying to be there.
Okay.
The committee is expecting this to be coming to us. I've mentioned it at prior meetings that it may be coming forward. So I don't think it will be new information.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I might reach out to you, Cindy, too, to just make sure I have the wordage correct and everything.
Is that Kathleen speaking?
Yes.
Oh,
I don't know if you. Yeah, if that's okay, Cindy, if I could reach out to you maybe tomorrow to sort of make sure I have the wordage.
Sure. Yeah. And Bridget, did you say you can be there too?
I can be there, yeah.
Okay, so between the two of us, Kathleen, I think we can help, but if you don't know how to reach me, I'll tell you my phone number right now if you want it.
I have your email.
You do have it? Yeah, lucindamail@yahoo.com. Okay, good.
Okay, thank
Great.
you.
Thank
You
you.
want to stop sharing, Cindy? Maybe that'll help see everyone.
What's that? I didn't hear you. What?
Are you still sharing, Cindy?
I'm still sharing. Shall I stop sharing? But I want to know Brittany, do you want to be the contact person on this application? And if so, maybe offline, you can text us your phone number. Okay?
Sure. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay,
Yeah. Hang on. Let me just write a note because I will forget.
okay. You know my email address too.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Thanks.
Will do.
Thanks, Brittany.
Okay.
Thanks, Bridget and Mark.
Thank you all.
All right. Okay. Any other items for open time to the public?
Yes, Mark Reed from Heritage Land Surveying and Engineering. I
All
missed George today during his office hours, but we submitted a request for certificate of compliance for 23 College Highway, which is the car wash that Paul Trueheart owns.
Mhm.
So under your door, George, is the check and the full application. I emailed it to you, everyone, also. So you should have it in your inbox. And we're just requesting that we could try to set up a site visit and have this on your agenda for your next meeting. I believe it's going to be in 2 weeks.
Okay. The 18th.
Yes. So we're requesting to have it on your agenda meeting then.
Okay. All right. Will do. And I see it in my email.
Okay, great.
Okay.
And you get a hold of us anytime to set up a site visit.
Okay.
George or whoever wants to attend the site visit, or people could just stop by and look at it. It's pretty well open and easy to drive around the car wash and look at
I am
it.
there frequently.
All right, that's all I have. I thank you for that, and just get a hold of me, and we'll, if you want somebody, myself or Paul Trueheart, to be at the site visit, that'd be great.
Okay. Will do. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Any other items? Anything not on the agenda that someone wanted to discuss? Okay. Moving on to new business. I have the request for the certificate of compliance for 0 Russellville Road.
Brittany,
Yeah.
if I may, I have visited the site. I've also been working with the Concom agent in Westfield, since most of the lot is actually in Westfield. Neither one of us have any issues, save one with the site, and that is the erosion control barriers have failed in numerous locations. Westfield granted the COC on the condition that the erosion control barriers in their town be removed. And I would recommend this commission grant the COC with the condition that the erosion control barriers be removed within 21 days of the COC.
All right. Does anyone else have any comments or questions? All right. Okay. So does anyone want to make a motion to grant the COC?
Motion to accept the conservation agent's proposal.
Okay. Does anyone like to second it?
I'll second it.
Sorry, who was that? Was that Lexi? Oh, Kathleen?
Yeah, thanks.
Sorry. I have my notes covering up everybody's faces. All right. Okay. Any other questions, comments before we vote? All right. Jake?
Aye.
Dan?
Oh, I abstained from this one. I didn't see it.
Totally fine. Kathleen?
Aye.
Lexi?
Aye.
And myself? Aye. Hang on one second. I have to take a squeaky toy away from my dog because I can't hear anything. That is my child. Okay. Okay. So that's it for that topic? We're going to move on to the amendment of the OOC for 120 East Street.
Brittany?
Yes.
If I may, just a quick reminder for the commission, based on the state Supreme Court case, the commission has to make a decision as to whether this amendment can be handled as an amendment with a public hearing and abutter notifications, or it requires an entirely new notice of intent. My recommendation to the commission is that it does not rise to the level of a new notice of intent. And I have so communicated that to the applicant.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. This is Ryan Elson from R. Levesque Associates, representing the project. I'd just like to go through with the commission the changes that are proposed, and attempt to share my screen.
Yes, looks good, Ryan. Thanks for sharing.
Sure. So as some of you may remember, this was a proposed residence with a driveway that's going through riverfront area. We're staying within the riverfront area disturbance thresholds, the performance standards. However, as construction is gearing up for the season, one of the nuances that the contractors found was it would, I guess, be in the interest of the owner as well as construction purposes of getting the town to extend the water line down East Street within the roadway. That portion of work is actually an exempt activity, provided that the trenches are closed at the end of each workday. However, where the proposed water line to service the building stems off, roughly somewhere in this location here, that additional work trenching the water line through the field wasn't accounted for in the original order of conditions in that site plan. However, we have noted that additional alteration. We're calling it a temporary alteration because right now it's an open hayfield. There would be trenching, installing the water line, backfilling, and loaming and seeding, and there's no net change to that area. And in addition to that, we had revised some of the grading along the proposed driveway shoulder. We tightened up that some, so we were able to reduce the square footage of alteration within riverfront by a couple hundred square feet. So those are chiefly the two main changes. And obviously no well is proposed anymore. I think it was previously shown in the front corner here of the house.
Thank you, Ryan. George, I know you just went off camera, but I'm curious, can you remind us what your recommendation, whether or not we should have this amendment go to public hearing again or not?
Well, the commission has three options in an amendment. The one is to require an entirely no notice of intent, which I do not recommend. Two is to require an additional public hearing, which would encumber legal notices and a legal advertisement on the applicant. Abutter notices. And three, the commission could decide that this does not rise to that level and do what DEP terms an amendment via the minutes. My recommendation is the middle ground, only because I think you're dealing with enough disturbance in the riverfront zone and disturbance that was originally not anticipated to rise to that level.
Thank you, George. And Ryan, my question for you, this area that's pointed out that makes up the 1,400 square feet that's going to be disturbed, was there grading that would have been done there anyway?
No, it would be going at the toe of the slope of the stormwater basin outside of any previous limit of work that was shown. So this is essentially an expansion of the limit of work, but a temporary alteration.
Okay, thank you.
So no one else have any comments or questions?
The water line is outside this work proposed?
It'd be still within the limit of work. There'd be a silt fence installed on the down gradient side. Previously, the limit of work was going across like this, staying outside of Riverfront, but we're kind of making a connection through Riverfront over here.
Oh, okay. So I meant the water line along the road is already existing. That's new, right?
It's existing farther up, but it would have to be continued alongside the roadway. However,
Okay.
disturbances related to that are an exempt activity under the.
Okay. That's what you were saying. Okay.
Yep.
Anybody else? Would anybody like to make a motion? Anybody?
I'm just thinking about how we can continue to be consistent in what we've done in the past for similar amendments. And I think the bridge project comes to mind from East Street, the East Street Bridge. I believe there's an amendment there, and I don't know that we had them go to another public hearing for that.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of another example. I can't recall any.
Excuse me, members of the commission, for what it's worth, since I've been on board, you have not voted to require an amendment or a new NOI for any project changes.
Yeah, that checks out. Yeah, and how do we want to handle these going forward too, if this is precedent? So, Brittany, do you have any strong thoughts?
I don't. This is not my area of expertise.
So
Yeah,
let's establish some type of criteria. That this is some threshold that it's exceeded that we would say that we'd apply in this these scenarios going forward. Yeah, something along those lines.
Yeah, I think something like a minimum square footage of disturbance makes sense. Almost 1,500 square feet is quite a bit. If it was less than that, I think it'd be easy to overlook this and just do the amendment now. Dan, is there like a particular number that jumps out to you?
No, it doesn't. This is my first time thinking about this, so I don't know. In the past, something like there wasn't a. What's the threshold? What number are we crossing here?
Almost 1,500.
And is that kind of what? I'm sorry, your name's George. I don't think I've met you before.
No, we haven't met.
Hi, I'm Dan. Is that what, in your mind, what number or what threshold was crossed when you made that suggestion to us?
In my mind, again, I have to think of this from a legal standpoint and a technical standpoint. I don't think there is necessarily a magic number. The DEP policy upon which the Supreme Court case is based technically only gives two options to the commission: a full NOI or a public hearing amendment to the NOI. DEP's Wetlands Circuit Rider has informed us that they will accept a amendment by the minutes. It's, with all due respect to Mark, our circuit rider, it's my opinion that does not fall within the purview of the DEP policy. However, having said that, it's entirely the commission's decision, and I think each amendment request has to be looked at as its own, stand on its own, because 1,500 square feet of buffer is very different than disturbing 1,500 square feet of resource area. And they run a wetlands, they're in a riverfront, which is a resource area.
So under the guidance of our conservation agent, I think that is sufficient reason to make that determination. So we can leave it at that. It's his educated determination as to which way we would go on these issues.
Are you making a motion?
Oh yes, I'll make a motion that we. What do we have? Sorry.
I wasn't sure.
We were talking about like on the criteria, but I'm good with the conservation agent making the call on this. So, it is. Are we saying that we're making this has to be put out to notification for the abutters? Is that what we're going with?
Again, if the commission decides that they do not want a full notice of intent, a brand new one, the applicant has to send out abutter notices, and we have to post a legal notice at the applicant's expense.
Okay, I move that we have the abutter notice and the legal notice at the applicant's expense.
So I'm confused. Is this then a new NOI or not? Do those things happen if it's going to be a new NOI, or are we just doing an amendment?
If I may, the amendment, as Dan is indicating, would strictly be the motion that he's putting forth would require the amendment and legal notice, not a new notice of intent.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so an amendment. I just want to put the wording in the minutes correctly. So, I'm sorry. Do you mind repeating that?
Yes, excuse me. As I am interpreting Dan's comments, he's making a motion to request the applicant amend the notice of intent, including the payment of the legal notice and abutter notifications.
Okay.
Yes, that's what I said.
Okay. All right. I might just have to go back and listen to this meeting later. Okay.
So I'm wondering then, does that mean we're putting it out for comment essentially to the butters, to the neighbors, so they can weigh in? Does that mean we continue this hearing until the next meeting? We bring it up again, giving them the opportunity to discuss, and if there is no discussion, we approve the amendment?
If I may, this is not the public hearing. The public hearing has to be advertised, which I will get to the Hampshire Gazette tomorrow to get hopefully it advertised in terms for in time of the next meeting on the 18th. I can't guarantee that, but we'll do everything I can to do that. If they can get it advertised in time, then I will notify Ryan immediately so you can get the abutter notifications out, and we'll put it on the 18th agenda if we can.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds fair. And George, do you think it would be possible to use this example as a threshold that we can include in that handy list of standard recommendations?
Absolutely. With the caveat that, as I stated earlier, 150 square feet of disturbance in a buffer, to me, is not as necessarily as impactful, if you will, as 150 feet in the resource area. 150,000, whatever the number, excuse me. But yes, it would be a good benchmark going forward.
Yeah, this does seem to double dip. It's both within 100 feet of the wetland buffer and the river frontage. So it does check both those boxes.
Yep.
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, I really do appreciate your recommendations and that standard list of recommendations you'd created before. And understanding this further, I'd like to second the motion.
Thank you. All right. Questions or comments from other commission members? Nope. All right, put it to a vote. Jake?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
Kathleen?
Aye.
Lexi?
Aye.
Myself? Aye. All right. Are we all set then? Anything else?
Brittany,
Good.
did you vote?
I did.
Okay.
I voted aye. Okay. All right. Our next topic is the NOI for Zero College Highway. And let's see. This is for construction of a duplex. All right. Who is discussing this?
Hi, everyone. This is Ryan Nelson from Arlevec Associates again. Just procedurally, I think the public notice or legal notice has to be read in. I think this is the first meeting.
Let me see. I have to find it. Think, George, did you send it to me?
Yes.
Hold, please. If anyone has it handy and can bring it up on the screen. Oh, I think I found it.
Brittany, I just sent it to you again.
Okay, I think I just found it. All right, so it says Southampton Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on 3/4/2024 on a notice of intent application for, for Ball Property Corporation, care of Andre, I'm not even going to try and pronounce the last name because I will butcher it, for the construction of a duplex residential building with associated site improvements at Zero College Highway. Hearing will be held via Zoom and will begin at 6 p.m. Zoom link, mytowngovernment.org, will be available 48 hours before the meeting. Copies of the application may be examined at the conservation office. All right. And let's see, I think we received the fees, correct? George?
Yes.
Okay. What was the amounts? I didn't have that.
What was the, excuse me, I didn't get that, Brittany.
The amounts for the legal fees and the Gazette notice?
Oh, that I'll have to look up.
Okay. Just email it to me so that I can put it in the minutes. You can do that after.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Ryan Nelson, you can go ahead.
Okay. All right. Thanks for reading that, Brittany. Some of you may remember that a previous NOI we did for the abutting property to the south, Berkshire Arc, put up a home right here. College Highway runs north to south. Valley Road is the next property over to the south. So the property we're dealing with is this one right here. This was subdivided via A&R from the Berkshire Arc property. They didn't do it, but obviously the previous owners. But this parcel we're dealing with today has been sitting vacant. The applicant, Mr. Andre Korchevsky of Bell Property Corp., is looking to put up a proposed duplex, residential duplex building. Unit 1 here on the left, Unit 2 on the right. Site would be accessed from a paved driveway, and there would be independent septic systems, one for each unit. So you have one here located to the north that would service Unit 1. There's another one here located that would service Unit 2. There is a wetland at the rear of the property. This was formally determined through that NOI filing for Berkshire Arc. It encompassed this property. I was on site this fall, confirmed the boundaries are still accurate. We did perk tests a couple months ago also in new locations. There were some previous perk tests that were done on the property that weren't in a viable location that worked with the layout of what the applicant wants to do. So the property kind of rises up from the road. There's a high point, a high ridge right here. That's where the house is proposed. And then it slopes down towards the wetlands. So the house is going to be relatively, I would say, flat in relation to the road. It comes up a foot or two from the road, but there will be a walkout basement at the rear. So you have your slope alongside the septic system sloping down to the backyard. In terms of stormwater management, we're providing a swale that would run across the backyard to try and intercept the sheet flow runoff. And that would go to a proposed rain garden area located right here. That would be grassed, and it would have an overflow, grassed overflow on the east end that would discharge to the wetland. Pretty much similar to, pre-existing drainage patterns. The majority of the site east of this high point ridge drains to the wetlands, and then west of this high point ridge, there's kind of a gully or a saddle in between the pavement and the property line, and we're proposing a cross culvert underneath that driveway to act as a balance pipe, so the driveway doesn't impede any inundated storm water that may settle in this gully alongside the road. It's not a stream or anything. There's no wetland characteristics, but we're providing that just so water can migrate as it does today. We are showing a 25-foot wetland buffer. We're not going within that. There's a 50-foot wetland buffer line shown right here. The majority of the work staying outside of that, except for the overflow portion of the rain garden. We will have to go into the 50 somewhat to construct that and tie in the grades. The whole building is outside the 100-foot buffer. Both septics are outside the 100-foot buffer. The only work within the 100-foot is really just related to grading on the backside of this development around the septic systems and obviously the rain garden area. We're proposing a silt fence around the whole perimeter of the limit of work. That's this line shown right here. After Concom, pending approval, usually normal sequences, then we would submit the Board of Health to get the septic systems designed. But the designs or the schematic shown here is designed based on groundwater and sized for the building. So we don't anticipate the septic leach fields shown to change that much. They should be pretty accurate. There's going to be a proposed water service, town water, through an easement that they're going to secure from the abutting property owner to the south, and that's going to service the building. Two independent services, Unit 1 and Unit 2. And I believe power would be connected overhead. A new pole would probably be needed to go underground, but that'll get hashed out closer to construction, and that's also outside the 100-foot buffer. So I think that covers most of it. Happy to answer any questions.
You might have said this, but what is the total area of disturbance?
I don't have that listed, but I could get that to you. My guess is the whole property is 46,336 square feet. So it's just over an acre. So my guess would be we're probably just under an acre in terms of disturbance.
Yeah, I'm just trying to make sure we're not triggering the stormwater management at 40,000.
Right. I don't have the exact number, but just guessing or estimating that this whole rear portion near the wetland we're not disturbing, I would think we're under.
Okay.
Ryan, will the lot have to be cleared of trees before construction?
Correct, yes. All the trees within the limit of work have to go.
Okay, sometimes we ask for a tree count. Is that something you could produce?
We could, yeah, I guess just what are the parameters? What size are we looking for?
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm just thinking back on the golf course project. It was like over 5-inch DBH in diameter.
And would that be limited to just the buffer zone?
Yeah, within the buffer zone.
Okay. Yeah, we could
But
do that.
yeah, if it's not too inconvenient. Overall, it looks like a great project. I like that the leach fields are outside.
Okay.
The other question I have for you is about the outlet for the catch basin. What kind of, like, can you talk about, I don't want to lead you too much into the question, but can you talk about the design of the outlet?
Sure. So this is just done via surface grading. So you have a backyard that's with a swale here that's slightly sloping to essentially, like a bowl in the backyard. And that bowl has a rim. This 345 is the rim that goes around the basin. So you can think of it as like that's the top of your barrel. And then at a section at the top of the barrel, we cut a notch. And this is the grass overflow. So it has a spot elevation of 344 and a half. So there's going to be a section of that rim that's 6 inches lower than the rest. So if water fills within that rain garden to an elevation of 344 and a half, it then spills over and continues downhill towards the wetlands. So there's no formal outlet control structure or anything. It's just a grass overflow.
Oh, interesting. So that's sheet flow coming out of the overflow basin when it does overflow. Oh, great.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, you can see what I'm getting at. Looking to avoid point source.
Yep.
Have we done a site visit yet? Is that something we would expect to do next? I'm not exactly sure.
George, have you done a site visit?
Yes, I have. As indicated in my agent's report, I did not find any issues concerning the application itself. And everything, the application reflects accurately what's on site. I remember I did send it to the commissioners in case they did want to do a site visit. And I would further like to discuss this later on when we get to my agent's report, not this application procedure-wise.
Okay.
So are we planning on a site visit? Is that the question?
Madam Chair, before you close the hearing, I would like to point out that I'd recommend approval issuance of the OOC with the stipulations listed in my agent's report.
Right. Jake, do you mind bringing those up? Do you have them?
The agent report?
Yes.
Yeah, I was just looking for that. I'm sorry, George, I missed that in the report. I skimmed it earlier. I was kind of busy.
You want me to send it to you again?
I think I can find it.
Just in case you can't, I send it to you again.
Okay. All right. I'll just pull up the most recent. All right. Can you all see that?
Yes.
So we got Pequot Pond.
Last item.
Last item. Ah, that's why I didn't see it.
And if you want to see what the actual stipulations are, it is also attached to the email I just sent you.
Okay, so these are your stipulations in the special condition. Okay. Going back. Standard conditions.
That's it.
Oh, right on. Okay, so we have as built written. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to read through all of them. If we provide this to the consultant, is that sufficient?
Ryan got a copy of the agent's report, so he got that.
Okay, so normally at this point, and I think the benefit of this document is that we can motion to approve with the agent's recommendations.
Do we need to close the public hearing first?
Yes, you do.
Okay. Would anyone like to make a motion? Oh,
If I may, excuse me.
yeah.
What the commission has to close the hearing before they issue any decision. However, you also have the option of making a single motion to close the hearing and issue the orders and conditions. But you do have to close the hearing.
Okay. All right. Would anyone like to make that motion to close the public hearing? If there's any other questions.
I'd like to motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Any questions, comments by the other commissioners? None. All right. Put it to a vote. Jake?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
Kathleen?
Aye.
Lexi?
Aye.
And myself? Aye. And then do we have a motion to issue the COC with the conditions noted in the agent's report?
The only question I have on the conditions is, I know the site is going to have a lot of fill, right? So would we want to have the condition 33, clean fill?
You could certainly add that should you choose.
Right.
Yeah.
Just because they're building up the land there. So I'd like to add that one.
So add that. So motion to issue the COC with the conditions noted in the agent's report with the addition of, what item is that?
33.
Okay. All right. Are you making that motion, Dan?
Yes. Yes. Sorry.
That's okay. Just want to make sure. All right. And do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay.
Me and Jake are like a tag team here. We got this going.
Yeah, nice job.
Okay. All right. Any other questions or comments?
Sounds good.
Great. All right. Let's vote. Jake.
Aye.
Dan.
Aye.
Kathleen.
Aye.
Lexi.
Aye.
And myself. Aye. All right. Okay. Right. I think we are all set with that.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate your time.
All
on that.
right. Thank you.
Thanks, Ryan.
Okay, so we're moving on to old business, and up next I have Pequot Pond. And we have representatives from Solitude.
Yes, Dominic Maringolo here from Solitude Lake Management. I also have Mike Tartaglia, one of our other project managers, Kara Slowoski from DCR, and Don Ledger from the Hampton Ponds Association. I think there might be a couple other folks there. We are requesting the commission approve the use of additional herbicide to the invasive plant management program at Pequot Pond, specifically the Procelicor herbicide, which we provided information about the Procelicor herbicide in the request, and also it was actually in the original NOI as well back in 2020. The commission approved the use of Diquat initially, and we have done treatments in 2020 and 2023. We would like to use Procelicor. Procelicor is a herbicide that was approved for use in, I believe it was 2018 or 2019. It is a systemic herbicide for Eurasian and variable water milfoil. If you remember, we're managing both of those milfoil species as well as curly leaf pondweed in Pequot Pond through a management program, including surveys, pre and post surveys, and the treatments are specifically for these non-native species. But the Procelicor is really it's very specific for milfoil. So it's especially as compared to diquat, it's going to provide much more selective control of the milfoil species. Because it's a systemic product, it also will provide multiple years of control of milfoil, which is another benefit over the diquat herbicide. So, we have been using it in Massachusetts since probably 2019. It's been used at a number of different sites across the state with really great results, excellent selectivity, without having any adverse effects on native plant species. So, I think really as a whole, this is a herbicide that's going to be a great addition to the toolbox for managing Pequot Pond. So we'd encourage the commission to allow us to use the Procelicor herbicide moving forward. And I believe it was in basically a part of the order of conditions, condition number 30, that the commission could approve other herbicides on an annual basis.
And our local cable subscribers.
We do have a scheduled hearing in Westfield next week as well to do the same thing with their order. That pretty much sums it up. I don't know if Kara wants to say a couple things about DCR's opinion on and use of Procelicor, then we can answer questions.
Sure. Hi, everybody. Thanks for having us tonight. As Dom mentioned, I am part of the DCR Lakes and Ponds program staff, and we are overseeing the management of Pequot Pond in collaboration with the Hampton Ponds Association. And so through that, we really are supportive of this Procelicor. I don't want to call it an amendment after the confusion from the last hearing, but we'll say addition for lack of a better term right now. And as Dom mentioned, it's definitely used pretty widely across the state. We at DCR, it's our primary choice for milfoil control these days. We're using it in the Charles River as well as the Mystic River. So that just goes to show it also works really well in moving waters. We've had almost about 100% control on an annual basis using it in the lower basin of the Charles, at least. So we've been really encouraged by the results elsewhere and are hopeful to be able to use it in Pequot shortly.
Yeah, thank you, Kara. We'd be happy to answer any questions you folks might have about the program or the particular herbicide we're requesting. It is like the other herbicides, that it is an aquatic herbicide labeled for lakes and ponds. It's approved through the process of the EPA registration as well as Massachusetts DEP and DAR. So it is. Again, it's approved for use, and I think it's a much better option for milfoil control. We still will be potentially using diquat for curly leaf pondweed control because unfortunately the Procelicor does not work on that plant. But I think it's going to be a great tool to reduce the milfoil infestation in the pond for multiple years at a time.
So we understand what we're voting for. Are you saying that this is already called out in our agreement for treatment of this pond?
Yeah, so the original NOI in 2020 included a number of different herbicides. Diquat was one of those herbicides that was approved by the commission initially, and the order of conditions number 30 allowed the commission to approve other herbicides on an annual basis. So, and the information for Procelicor was included in the original NOI as well as the request that was submitted to kind of initiate this meeting.
Okay, so what we're looking for here is the annual approval of the use of this herbicide. Is that correct?
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
And so looking at it in that way, I guess we would want to include Diquat and Procelacor for if this is a kind of an annual thing, just because we'll want to be potentially using both herbicides in 2024.
Though those treatments would likely happen at a separate time. There won't necessarily be overlap because since the diquat also impacts the milfoil, we wouldn't want to, counteract our efforts of using Procelacor. So they'll either be very separate areas of just curly leaf and just milfoil, or they'll happen at separate times.
So is our approval for the rest of this calendar year, or what's the time frame you're looking for approval?
Forever would be awesome.
No.
But calendar year would be great.
Yeah. Okay. From now, 365 days.
Um,
I'm just wondering when you are going to come back and ask again.
I guess I kind of looked at this in a different way. I thought we were kind of adding this to the toolbox as we've been using. Diquat was approved, I guess, in 2020, and we've used that twice already. So I guess I was kind of envisioning this as a.
Okay, you said the word annual, so.
I did. That's the way the condition was written. So I could see the confusion there. I do actually have maybe reading this a little bit wrong, but it's. Well, it says all other chemicals, so that would mean aside from Diquat, shall be approved on a yearly basis by the Westfield and Southampton Conservation Commissions. So, yes, I guess Diquat, it seems, is approved ongoing, so we would request the use of Procelacor for the 2024 season.
And how long is this NOI valid for?
So it is valid through, I believe, with the COVID extension, I believe it's valid through 2026 because it was a 5-year order. So I think it should be good. Currently, it's good through kind of late summer 2026. Before.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind simply giving approval for the year, but then we're thinking about trying to organize my thoughts here. We had just done an amendment to an OOC and asked them to go out for another public hearing. And so how is this case different?
Jake, if I may, I would draw a distinction here in the context that, as was indicated by the applicant, the commission already anticipated this by putting in stipulation 30 in the original order of conditions. So what the applicant is truly doing is coming to the commission to comply with that stipulation by changing the chemical that they want to use. So it's technically, it could be construed as an amendment, but it's only going to require the commission to vote to allow the applicant to use the new chemical. You're not going out with anything the commission didn't already anticipate by putting that stipulation in there.
Right. And with that stipulation, we're assuming that the science will improve and that there will be better chemicals out there. And I can assume just because label is the law when you're a pesticide applicator that the rates will be done in accordance to the proper usage of that herbicide.
Absolutely.
So I'm comfortable with that.
Are you also approaching Westfield for this?
Yes, we have a hearing scheduled in Westfield next week. Or a meeting. Yeah, we're on the agenda for next Tuesday, I believe.
Is there wording similar? They just need approval for this?
Yes, I think the conditions were fairly well mirrored between the two towns as was planned initially. Yes. I think the only thing that was different was the numbers were off by 1 for some reason. I'm not sure why.
When I generate correspondence to the applicant indicating the commission's action, it will be copied to the Westfield agent.
Well, it sounds pretty clear to me. that, based on what was said by the applicant and everything, I feel comfortable going forward with the addition of the chemical, used in the appropriate way. I don't know if there's any other questions or comments from the commission.
Yeah, I just found the old special conditions, so I can certainly email that out to the rest of the commission members. But yes, it did say item number 29, only the chemical diquat is approved for use, but item number 30, all other chemicals shall be approved on a yearly basis by the Westfield and Southampton Concoms. All right. Okay.
So we're making a motion to approve, I'm sorry, what's the name of the chemical?
Procelicor.
Make a motion to approve the use of Procelicor for 1 year from today's date, as recognized in the Pequot NOI.
All right. Anyone like to second that?
Second.
All right, thank you. Any other questions, comments from commission members? Right, and we will take a vote. Jake?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
Kathleen? There? Oh,
I'm sorry. Aye.
all right. Lexi?
Aye.
And myself, aye. Okay.
Great. Thank you, folks. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Okay. Next on the agenda is 14 High Street and Janet Brown. Is she here? Oh. Hi, Janet.
Hi, how are you?
Doing well. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
All right, so we're continuing our discussion from our last meeting on February 5th regarding the drawdown times for the pond. Okay.
Madam Chair, I will interject here that attached to my agent's report was the information from the state on why that drawdown date and time were selected.
I read that and I've seen it before, but I just want to say again, we do not have fish in the pond. So the fish is a moot point. There are no fish in the pond. I've been here since 1973. I've never seen one fish. Brook trout, or I don't know anything about fish, but I've never seen a fish in a pond. So it's a moot point, in my opinion.
I think what they were concerned about, and I think this is what Jake had been talking about, is not in your pond specifically, but downstream.
Well, downstream, it goes down on the Route 10 and then it goes into the Manhattan. But if there's no fish, there's not a problem. My real concern is because we have to fill in April, and that's when the beavers start scouting around and finding their place. That's what caused our devastation last summer. They're chewing down all the trees. They've found a place to be, as Mr. Russell saw, and they just have destroyed our property. And since 1931, we've never had to fill the pool that early, and this just shows how busy those little beavers are.
I guess I'm coming a little late to the game on this one. What are you looking to do, Janet? You want to fill it up now or later?
I would like to do what we've been doing since 1931, fill it Memorial Day.
Memorial Day, yeah.
And
okay.
empty it Labor Day.
And then what's the deal? We don't want to do that day for some reason?
Well, I was told it has to be filled by April the 1st.
Oh, okay.
And if you if you know anything, I've learned a lot about beavers. They start scouting around and finding their little places for huts and dams and having their babies and all that kind of stuff in April and May. And so because we allowed them to have a place to do that this year, that's what they did. And I've offered, well, I guess the order of conditions say you can visit whenever you want. And I've offered to come down and visit. You can see all the trees that I've made 4 truckloads of trees to the dump that they chewed down. And I can show you the damage that they've done. It's just incredible.
Jake, do you mind bringing up the information, the drawdown standards that George emailed out?
Yes, yeah, I'm looking at it now. And I'm trying to figure out something. I'm wondering if this only applies if it's identified by Fish and Wildlife to be rare species habitat or potential rare species habitat. So I'm just thinking that out loud.
Hmm.
Jake, you'll notice that you are correct. This is referring to rare species habitat, and there is none in that area.
I think that's a strong case in Janet's favor.
Yeah.
It does seem like the major issue is really the beavers. It's not the drawdown time. It's the drawdown time being so late that it inspires beavers to cause additional damage.
Correct. I learned a lot this year.
Yeah.
So I guess with that information, I make a motion that we allow this to occur on Memorial Day, as it has typically occurred for the past almost 100 years now.
Thank you.
Nobody seconded it. So.
So Janet, you're looking to, you've been now having to refill it by April 1st and then draw down.
We did
November
last year.
1st?
Yes, we did that last year on April the 1st because of this document right here. But if we can wait until Memorial Day or sometime in May, maybe those little beavers will move on. Because it's quite costly and it's also destructive to if anybody wants to come and look, I'd be more than happy to give you a walk around all the trees that they've taken down.
And then when were you looking to start the drawdown?
We normally have done it Labor Day. And I will adhere to the 3 inches a week that it says we should do, so it could be gentle and slow. That's not a problem. I would just, we've done this for, as we've said, almost 100 years and it's worked. Now, 1 year we do this and it didn't work. So I would appreciate anything.
Do we want to do like a year at a time and see if doing it this way for this coming year makes a difference?
That's fine. Yeah.
See how it goes. I don't know. What do other people think? That's just a thought I had.
I like that idea, Brittany. Take it year to year.
Take it year by year. Anybody else?
So what does that mean for me? We do it for 1 year and then I come back to the Concom next year and we extend another year?
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe we can do that and kind of approach it as like a trial and just reconvene, this time
next year.
Yep. And then just see what worked, what didn't. And then we can maybe go from there based on the information we have.
Sounds good.
George, any input?
No, but I do have a question. I heard that you're changing the date to May to fill up the pond. Are you changing the date for drawdown?
It looks like she's looking to make it Labor Day. I guess to be specific, what day? Actual Memorial Day or Memorial Day weekend?
So, yeah, Memorial Day to Labor Day.
Actual Memorial Day? Okay.
Yeah, a week or two before, it doesn't seem to matter, but that's the time frame. Yes, please.
Okay, just so I know what to tell Janet.
All right. Are we okay with that, rest of the commission?
Yeah, I think so. What's really important with the drawdown is that it happens slowly and it's not a sudden release, especially with the size of pond that we're talking about. It's not.
I think it says 3 inches a week, so shall we adhere to that?
Yeah,
On the next
recommend that.
page. Yeah, on the next page, I think it says 3 inches a week.
Yep. Well, I wouldn't change the rate of the drawdown, but the date I think is what we can be flexible on.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Do we want to make a motion to approve these new dates for 2024 reconvening a year from now?
Yes, I will make that motion.
I'll second.
All right. Any comments by other commission members before we vote? Okay. Jake?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
Kathleen?
Aye.
Lexi?
Aye.
And myself? Aye. All right, Janet, does that work for you?
That's beautiful. Thank you very much. I really do appreciate your consideration. So I should get in touch with you about this time next year?
Sounds good.
Thank you so much. I
All right.
really appreciate it.
All right. You're welcome. Let us know if anything changes in the meantime.
Oh, I will. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Have a good night.
You
Thank
too.
you, Janet. Thank you for your patience.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate your hard work.
Okay. All right. On to regular business. Our agents report. All right. George, you're up.
Thank you. There's a couple of things on my agent's report I really would like commission input on. The first is item 1.2, which is the discussion on the applications and procedures, etc. I would really like to be able to get to the commission the electronic copies of applications and information, etc., that's going to come in front of them. But at the same time, I don't want to bombard them with 30, 40, 50 pieces of paper. So I'd just like to know, is it acceptable that I forward electronic copies of applications, for instance? Or do you want me to mail out hard copies? Or how do you want to handle it?
I like everything electronically.
Yeah.
Rather not kill any more trees than we need to.
I don't blame you. I just want to make sure that I'm getting the appropriate information to the commission in adequate time to review it, if you will, before the meeting. And sometimes, like at this particular meeting, I cannot attach everything to my agent's report. There's just too much. The email won't accept it.
Yeah.
But I will continue then to send the commission members copies of the applications, et cetera, et cetera. And let me give you a quick example. The application for Zero College Highway in the amendment to 120 East Street was approximately 70 pages long. Between the narratives, the maps, etc. So I will try and be selective, but make sure that you get what you want. In addition to that, I wanted to point out, as I did earlier, that when an application is filed, the commission has to open a public hearing within 21 days. And in certain applications, for instance, when a certificate of compliance is submitted, there's no wavering from that application, that statutory timeline. And that, for instance, what I am doing, for instance, I'll go back to the 0 Russellville Road. I did not consider that application, i.e. the COC request, complete until today, because it wasn't until today that I received the check for the certificate of compliance. So just so the commission knows that the time clocks start when I date stamp in the application material and it's complete. And the statute's very clear on that. It has to be complete. And finally, on this procedural issue, I want to reiterate that the commission must close a public hearing prior to voting on an application. And again, you can do that in one motion. And in terms of public hearings, I want to also point out that an RDA legally is not a public hearing, it's a public meeting, which means at the discretion of the chair, actually, if you want anybody to talk to it or not. Most conservation commissions allow at least the applicant to talk. The other thing I want to point out to the commission, and there's a couple of other things, but those will be up to other people on the agenda. Under item 2.1, I have attached to my agent's report a list of recommended bylaw amendments. There's some things in the bylaw that I feel I'm very uncomfortable with. Example, the local bylaw only allows the commission to grant a 1-year extension on a permit, and then they can grant a second 1-year extension. Whereas 310 CMR and the statute say you can grant 3-year extensions. It's your call, but you are limiting permits and requiring applicants to keep coming back more often. What I would like to do is, given the email that we received from the former town administrator about the warrant that's coming up, this is very timely, in my opinion. And I would like to, with the commission's okay, modify this with any input the commission may have after they go through it to actually be presentable in a presentable form to the town for town meeting action. So I would really request that the commission review this and get any comments back to me as soon as possible. And one final thing that just came up, in the fee structure under the local bylaw, there's no applicable fee for a duplex. It talks only about single-family dwellings. And there's no applicable fee for multifamily dwellings.
Interesting.
We requested the single-family fee from the applicant because there's nothing else we could have done.
Yeah.
So if you would please review these bylaw amendment suggestions I've submitted to you and get back to me as soon as possible. I hope to have a document for you at the next meeting that can be presented to the town meeting. And that's all I have, Brittany.
Okay.
Do I have the email?
Pardon me?
Do I have a copy of that electronic file that you want us to review? Maybe since I'm new here, I just want to make sure I have it.
I attached it to my agent's report. Dan, if you didn't get it, let me know and I'll send it to you.
Yeah, I don't have an agent's report, so yeah.
Okay, I'll make sure you get that.
Thank you very much.
No problem.
I can send it to you right now.
Thank you.
Oh, even better.
George, may I ask a question about one of your recommendations for the fee structure? Is the fee structure, is that something that only exists at the local level here? Is that in the bylaw? Okay.
Yes. We don't have the authority to change the state fees. And it is strictly the local bylaw. The other thing I want to point out, Jake, really quickly is there are some things in the bylaw where the bylaw uses the word shall, which under legal doctrine is mandatory. And there's a lot of things the commission, quote, hasn't done, unquote. So I'm going to take all those shells out and make them mays.
Thank you. That's very helpful. Yeah, I think I need more information on this. I should do some research, but I am going to ask this question. Would it be appropriate to scale the housing fee based on the number of units? Is that how the state structures it?
Mail it to who, Jay?
Would it be appropriate to scale the fee based on the number of units?
That's strictly the commission's call. I haven't seen that done, but we could develop a structure like that. Yes. Send me your idea, if you will, and I'll build on it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just thinking about that. I wouldn't want to be prohibitive. We do want to encourage multifamily housing. So maybe it's a square footage issue. But I'll keep thinking about it. Thank you.
Okay.
As a suggestion, a way to think through that may be looking at the building department's fee schedule, because they do it all based on square footage. So it may be a template that may help you.
I'll check with Ron on that, Dan.
Madam Chairperson, this is Cindy. Can I just throw something out right now?
Yes, please.
Okay, so there's a firm, and maybe Dan can remember the name of it, I can't think of it, that has been assisting in the general and in the zoning bylaws of our town for a couple of years now, in terms of putting them all in kind of the same format.
Yeah, Eco 360.
That's it, Eco 360. And while you're contemplating changes, which may be exactly what's necessary, be sure you're working with the bylaws committee and not doing something that might be, the Eco 360 might be able to assist with. That's coming to mind right now.
Will do.
Along that vein, I believe we're working to move all of our fees to like one section of our bylaws. So that may be something to just ask them about as we're updating our fees schedule for Conservation Commission. It may make sense to move it where all the other fees are for the town. So.
Got it.
Okay.
Brittany, no formal action is required on this at this time.
Okay. All right. Did you want to continue down your list of?
Well, the next thing, for instance, on the list is the Bridget Clark Family Homestead, which I believe Cindy's going to talk about. And then further down, you have updates from other boards, and I have a couple of issues on that.
Okay, I had also a meeting or a public participation policy and conservation of forest land on your agenda.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, we can take that up now, certainly. I suggested a public meeting policy for public comment on non-public hearing items. Then it was brought to my attention that the Board of Selectmen already has a policy in place, and it was very, very, very similar to what I had proposed. Again, that's attached to my agent's report. I'd recommend the commission formally adopt that by vote so it's reflected in the minutes, and in future agendas it actually be on the agenda if room permits.
Okay. I've not actually seen it. Is it something that comes up, Dan? Like, is it typed out in something, or is it said at the start of meetings, or is it
like explaining what the open time of the public is? Is that what you guys are talking about?
It's based on a recent state Supreme Court case where the Board of Selectmen were sued by a citizen because the Board of Selectmen had that citizen removed from the meeting, and the citizen was being extremely disruptive, shall we say. The Supreme Court ruled that you can't do that. And you have to have a policy in place, basically, and they list 2 or 3 things which can be in the policy. One is you have to notify the people that they can speak when recognized by the chair. They're allowed X amount of minutes. I've recommended 5 to speak, but that can be extended by the chair. If something that's brought up that won't be finished, the commission will put it on the next agenda. Those type of issues. But the whole point is, frankly, here to protect the commission members from, in essence, stifling, for lack of a better term, someone's First Amendment rights, which the Supreme Court said the Board of Selectmen, and I forget the town where it took place, did.
Yeah, I'm trying to get to. I'll drop a copy of that text into the meeting chat. If you give me a minute. Word.
Sorry, just to clarify, so Dan is dropping text from what other boards consider as a similar bylaw, and what we have in an email is what we discussed last time as the proposed bylaw?
No, what you have in the email is what the Board of Selectmen currently are using.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Similar.
So you got what I'm about to put in there.
I think we have it then, yeah.
Good.
Okay.
This one, Brittany, I am requesting formal action.
Okay. So as you have it typed out, you've already kind of, as it's worded right now in your agent's report, you just adjusted it to be applicable to us, I'm assuming.
Can someone present that so we can accept the text?
Can you see what I'm sharing now?
I see it.
Oh, yeah, thank you. There needs to be a space just between the commission.
I like it. I think that's reasonable.
I mean, it's the same text as the select board, which I like because that's already been reviewed by our town council and approved. So if it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander.
So Dan, my question is, because you guys meet in person, is this just implied at the start of your meetings, or does someone read this notice? Or
Nobody ever. It's
okay.
just in the minutes. No one
it's in the
has to read
minutes.
it.
Okay.
It's under like where it says, let's say before it's like right before a call to order. It says open time for the public, and it says exactly this text here.
Oh, okay.
So in the description of the open time of the public.
Okay. All right.
Madam Chair, if the commission adopts it and puts this in the minutes, I will always have a copy with me during the meeting and can, obviously refresh anybody's memory of it. But I would come back and say that, no, I guess you don't have to put it on the agenda, but it does have to be in the minutes.
Okay. Okay. That's fair. Okay.
I'm sorry, they put it in the agenda for the select board. Does that matter? So people are aware of it?
Yeah, I was kind of thinking that as well. It wouldn't hurt to just put it in the agenda on my town government.
Yeah, just right where you put open time of the public, just put this whole paragraph.
Already all the Zoom information anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm good with that.
So I would like to make a motion. We adopt this paragraph as our standard text for open time to the public to provide our meeting guidelines for that section of our meeting.
Okay.
You break it.
I'll second it.
Thank you, guys. Okay. Any comments by other members? All right, we will vote. Jake?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
Kathleen?
Aye.
Lexi?
Aye.
And myself? Aye. Okay.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Did you want to talk about conservation of forest land, or did you want to just move on to the bridge?
No, that is basically informational for the commission members.
Okay, got it. All right. Okay. All right, we're almost there. All right, so next up I have finally meeting our applicants for the Conservation Commission.
Excuse me, Brittany,
yes,
I'm
yes.
sorry to interrupt, but
Yep, no, go
the
ahead.
Clark family homestead was next
Yes.
on the agenda.
Oh, sorry, I thought we were skipping that one.
And again,
sorry, Cindy, I'm trying not to forget about you.
Cindy's here to speak to it, but one of the things I just want to remind the commission from my agent's report is an application is going to be filed. The commission has to make a determination on whether any fees need to be paid, who's going to pay the legal notice, and who's going to pay the supplies.
Yeah. Okay.
Cindy?
All right. Okay, Cindy, go ahead. Sorry.
Me? Yay. So I am not alone. There's a person also on the screen who's identified as Donna Lynn, but that's not correct. It's Jerry Hillman. And
okay. I was wondering. Thank you.
Jerry
can you spell his name for me?
JERRY HILLMAN.
Thank you so much. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So Jerry and I are both town residents, and we are also volunteers. We may have affiliation with other committees or boards or activities, but on the other hand, we're here on our own, just as private citizens. One of the properties that was most recently acquired by the town and falls under the Conservation Commission is the Clark family homestead on the corner of Rattle Hill Road and Cold Spring Road. I know Brittany's been there. I think, Dan, have you been there yet? I don't know.
I run by there all the time. I know what you're talking about. I haven't walked it.
George and I have walked it a few times. I know Kathleen and Lexi were hoping to walk it with us sometimes. So there is, George, are you able to pull up the map? I've showed it before, you know, the map you shared with me. I don't have that on a email.
It'll be a minute. Hold on.
Okay, well, let me keep talking. So there is really, it's a seasonal little stream, which often is quite dry. Mostly it's quite dry by the middle to late summer. This last year was an exception. It was a very wet year, as we know, so it never really dried out. It needs to be to have some kind of an appropriate bridge crossing. Jerry and I have been down there a few different times. We spoke with George at least a few different times, and we're really needing to understand if this is an RDA or an NOI. And I'm going to ask George to contribute his thoughts on this in a minute. The reason Jerry is here is he's a very competent carpenter and builder, and he's new to our town. You should welcome him because he's jumped right in and helped a lot on a lot of things. He and I have come up with a tentative plan of what we'd like to do. We don't have a design picture. We don't have anything like that. I will say Brittany Goodermuth and I walked with her family, walked down there a couple of weeks ago, and when it was really frozen, which was really good because we could walk around down there. And she and I believe it's at least 25 feet across from bank to bank, especially at this wettest time, you know, this very unusual year. Jerry and I have gone to the Kestrel property up in West Hampton called Greenberg Family Conservation Area. It's a lovely spot. We've also gone down to the Manhan Meadows one, you know, the one that was worked on by an outside firm last year on the library side of the Manhan Meadows Sanctuary. We've looked at different things. So maybe Jerry, you can jump in and talk a little bit about what, you know, where we are on this and the potential expense for it.
Jake, Brittany, I just sent you a copy of the map that Cindy's referencing.
You can't bring it up and show it as a share screen?
I can't bring it up, no.
Oh, sorry.
I can't access it that way. Basically, as I understand it from talking to Cindy, the bridge is going to be approximately 25 feet long. And Cindy, correct me if I misspeak anything here. It will be made out of pressure treated lumber, and it will that has no arsenic in it. It will not touch the bank of the stream on either side. It will go from above the bank on one side to above the bank on the other. The two questions that come up are, as Cindy indicated, the level of permitting that the commission is going to require. In that this is going to be in the buffer to a bank and in the riverfront resource area. I see minimal land disturbance. Oh, and there will also be some type of support structure in the middle of the bridge, which will impact land under a water body. That impact should be minimal. So we're working in 2 resource areas and a buffer zone. And I think what the commission needs to decide is, most importantly, the level of permitting they would like, and in essence, who's going to pay for the materials to construct the bridge.
And there is this idea that it will not exceed, I'll say, $300 at the highest cost. I'm not letting Jerry speak. Jerry should talk now. He said $250. Let Jerry speak.
Well, my numbers were based on a 16-foot long bridge. So you need to add, it's going to be more like 400.
Okay, sorry about that, Jerry. Yep. So about $400, okay.
Yeah. Anyway, the preservative that's used is rated by the EPA as above ground, in ground, and freshwater contact. So like it could be even touching water and it's still safe, relatively speaking.
So, I mean, I look at this as either RDA or NOI, and I look at the determination based on, is it going to have a negative impact on the anything within the buffer zone? And to me, this has no negative impact, so I'd rate this as an RDA.
I might add that I was there in right around Christmas, and the Manhan at the time was flooded, but this little stream looked about the same as it did back in October. So it doesn't seem to be a lot of runoff going into this little brook.
I think Jake put up a map right there, and I can't use my cursor to have it work. I don't know. Can you see my cursor there? No, you can't. Jake can. So you see the dotted line going all the way through. It's kind of a very straight. That's an AT&T easement. So then, Jake, if you go down, go down, and you see that little triangular thing. There's kind of going in 2 directions. There is a little brook that this is not the brook that we're covering, that we're talking about the crossing. This is a different, like, feeder stream is the word I use. And it's probably right there approximately where it says Paula Hendrick. It's probably right about there. You see the name, yeah. Paula Hendrick there, and again, the map, I actually brought it to the commission several months ago where I did all kind of identifiers, and I also put a legend in it. You approved the creation of a trail, which we've already been working on. Diana Fetterman and I and others have worked on blazing a trail, and that was before Marla left. She was there helping a little bit a couple times. It's just the stream, the little tiny feeder stream crossing that we're talking about. And I guess that's what we need to know. So Dan's thinking an RDA might be necessary, which will require a public meeting, not a public hearing. And then who will pay the $400? Does anybody have any idea for that?
Do we have that old spreadsheet of our budget? Do we still do that kind of thing? Do we have a budget?
We do. Hang on.
Oh, okay. Let's start.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Jake, I just sent you an additional map for that area.
Okay, thank you. I don't know if you can see this, but I pulled up the USGS stream stats on this side. And generally my recommendation with culvert projects is just meet the state standard for 1.2 times bank full width, and you'll have no issue for the most part. And in this case, we don't need an engineer approved DOT level design, but we would like to see a design typically so that we know what to expect.
Mm-hmm. This won't impede the flow of the stream at all, right? That's my impression.
No.
Okay.
And maybe Dan, you can help me with the design piece. You're such a great engineer. or to help me figure out how we're going to show that. If there will be a need for a public meeting though, right? So yeah, that's my original one there. So let's see here. Number 6.
Oh.
I was in the wrong spot. Okay, so number 6, and you see the two little lines there. That's at number 6. There's a stake that I think maybe Mr. Hendrick put in a long time ago, and it crosses that little tiny stream, which is in navy blue printing with an arrow pointing to it. That's the one we're talking about.
Are you talking about the purple stream? So
Yeah,
number 6?
Yeah, that one. Yeah, exactly. That purple stream.
Oh,
right.
okay. Yeah, that stream isn't recognized on like Mass Mapper or anything, or the GIS map.
It's very tiny.
Yep.
It's like 2 feet wide.
Okay. Are we
and
thinking about
3 inches deep when it's full?
Okay. Sorry to interrupt you, Jerry. I'm just remembering that we saw photos of this, I believe, and it seemed pretty swampy. Are we considering something more like a bog bridge versus like I don't know, like a trust bridge or something?
It's not really super swampy there. There's a depression. It's more like a stream. There are other places that are boggy, not this spot. Not this spot. And Jake, if you're around sometime, we'll walk down there and look at it.
Yeah. Is this also the same property? There was a gentleman who was in a butter who was interested in doing trail work. Is this the same?
No, I think you're thinking of Alice Brown.
That's correct. You're thinking of Alice Brown up off Pleasant Street, I think, he's in a butter. I don't know of any neighbors that were interested in doing any trail work on this.
Okay. Then maybe the photos I'm thinking of I'm wrong there, but yeah, we always want to encourage people to be able to do trail work.
Well, on that note, let me just add something. There is a new group forming in town that call themselves the Trailblazers, and I think I put a lot of you on the email list that we want to do more trail work to support a lot of stuff in our town. But this is one project that over time they may be working on, but for now we're just talking about the proposal for this little bridge.
I think it sounds great. I have no idea about the fees.
Brittany, since it is town-owned property, the application fee, I think, is not a problem. It's strictly the fees on the legal and the material.
Okay. And I think what we have in our accounts are actually in our minutes that we have to be approving tonight.
Yeah, I mean, if we have unencumbered funds, I would be willing. As a member, I think this is a great way to spend it.
And I think I cannot remember the amount. Is it like $5,000 that we have to use from the town? Like it's a use it or lose it? I cannot remember.
By the end of the fiscal year, which we're coming up on. So
yes.
You haven't spent it.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think Lexi would know. But
I think it might have been 6,000, because I think I requested the same as the year before.
Okay.
Which I know it was $1,000 more.
Okay. And we still have that full amount, or have we dipped in?
I think we have the full amount.
Oh, we should use it.
All right. I'd like to make a motion that we allocate up to, I don't know, $800 for the materials to build the described bridge. We do want to see a plan of the bridge before it is built and to approve as an RDA, which we will not charge a fee for as it is a town property. So I'd also like to include that this come forward as an RDA.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Was that confusing enough? Sorry. It's just all the things, just package it all together. Yeah.
I'm sorry, was that Kathleen who seconded?
Correct.
Okay. Ooh, okay.
So what's our next step? Is there a public meeting? Do we need to come forth with the plan and all of that in a advertised public meeting?
I have to advertise the public meeting, and we're going to have a formal application, Cindy. I will work with you to fill one out.
Okay.
Because we're going to have something that if a member of the public wants to come in and see what's going on, they have a right to see that.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay.
All
Thank
right,
you.
so we just need to vote on that. Jake?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
Kathleen?
I also have to get off right now. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry.
I'm just saying bye also.
Okay.
Aye and bye.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Lexi?
Aye.
And myself, aye. All right. All right, awesome. Oh. Okay. Okay. Is that it for that?
That's
I
it.
think we're all set.
Thanks for all your hard work, you guys.
Okay,
And
thank
just,
you.
I just want to say, as far as your bylaw thing, I just texted Chris Fowles, who is the chairperson of the bylaws committee, and she really wants to know if you want to do bylaw changes and coordinate on that part. So whatever is proposed should go to the attention of Chris and the bylaws committee. Okay.
I had that in my notes.
Super. Bye.
All right, bye, Cindy. Have a good night.
Thanks, Jerry. Bye.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye, Jerry.
Thank you both.
Bye-bye.
Oh, okay. All right. I don't know if Tim is still on here. I think I see Hazel. So we do have an applicant for joining us on the Conservation Commission. We have Hazel Ortiz, and I think I sent Jake her application and her resume.
Hazel, if that's okay, can I pull up your application and resume?
Yeah.
Don't mind my email.
We won't look.
Actually, it's too much of a mess. I just gotta say, I miss Dan being part of the commission.
Hey, nice to see you too, buddy.
Yeah, you're not gun shy about making a motion. I like it.
Let's get this thing going.
Okay. All right, Hazel, thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
I'm sorry we had you towards the end.
That's okay. I was
Meetings are not
multitasking.
quite always this tedious, but occasionally they are.
That's good to know.
All right. Okay.
Okay, I'm about to share. There we go.
You went to UMass. That's all we need to see. It's good.
Oh, and you live in Southampton too.
Yeah, we moved here last March on Cold Spring.
Nice.
Oh yeah, so this the project we were just talking about. It's right up the street from you.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, Cindy was telling us about it.
I love it. I was very excited when I saw your resume.
Yeah. Yeah, Cindy was very excited when she learned what I did. She was like, "Oh, wait a minute.
I know.
They bring something to your attention."
Yes.
Oh, cool. Do you work in the office at Hadley?
Yeah.
Oh, right on. Yeah, that's really it's like a campus.
Yeah, it's pretty big. It's funny because I just didn't even know it was there until I got my internship because it's just behind everything, trees and everything. I don't know if that's purposeful, but it's a good spot.
Yeah, no one knows it's there, but the U.S. Fish and Wildlife's regional headquarters is in Hadley off Route 9.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
It's behind behind the bank that's next to Staples.
Oh, okay.
Five College.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, I'm seeing someone who is overly qualified, and I would I would be honored to make the motion to approve Hazel as.
Well, hang on. Hazel, do you have any questions for us?
I guess what is expected.
Sure.
What's expected?
Yes.
So we have twice monthly meetings, the first and third Monday of every month, unless it's a federal holiday. Then we either will just skip that and go to the next one, or if we think that we have a lot of items on our agenda, we can schedule a special meeting. We are still, as of now, meeting virtually via Zoom. And I mean, typically, now that we have George, it's kind of lessened a little bit of our load as far as having to coordinate site visits, which is really hard with everyone having different schedules. So it's been great that he's been able to go out there and just kind of report back to us. But obviously, if someone wants to attend a site visit, that happens. This probably, I don't know if you would even need to do this given what you do for a living, but for everybody else, Dan, I think, is the only one who's completed all of the fundamentals at the MACC. So that is usually something that all of the commission members are encouraged to complete, as well as attending the conference every year. The cost of attending is reimbursed by the town. So, no worries there. Am I forgetting anything, guys?
But if you want to take those classes too, like I took that class at UMass for conservation. So if there's other related courses that will improve our ability to operate as a commission, then we'd be open to hear about them.
Okay, good to know.
And then just kind of general trail maintenance on our properties. Hopefully, as we get volunteers, that's always been a big struggle, is getting volunteers to do things. We do need commission members to go out and kind of offer guidance and let them know where they're working and what they're going to be doing. I think that's really about it. Winter is kind of our, I guess, slower season. Summer is when we kind of get out there and we're really battling invasives and checking on all of our properties. So.
Yeah, if I could add to that, Brittany, I think you said some of this, but I was checking to see if the spring MAC conference had already happened, and it was this past weekend, so we missed it.
Yeah.
But the way I can think of it is there's sort of like a minimum level of engagement, and then sort of sky's the limit. Like you could take on grant writing and project management. You could like do all kinds of stuff with the open space that Southampton is responsible for. And it is kind of wild how much open space Southampton actually is responsible for. I haven't done the math, but I think it's probably more per capita than any other town.
And it's about to expand.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of open space. There's a lot of opportunity for managing restoration projects. Just was it 2 years ago? Geez, time flies. We were awarded something like $75,000 from the Attorney General's office And we've been doing projects in invasive plant management with that money. But then it's also like, could be seed money for grant matches where we could do other projects. But we don't have the staff time really to dedicate to that.
Awesome. Thank you. That all sounds good to me. I probably will do some of those classes just because some of them is good to know in this context, whereas I probably work in kind of a different context than this is, so it'd just be good for me to know. But I love invasive species removal. So that's something I'd volunteer for whenever that
We have a lot of it.
Yeah, I've noticed just being around town. And the property I moved. Yeah.
Yeah, you spend a lot of time yourself out there. I mean, if you like the physicality of it, but like for grants and stuff like that too, we could contract folks if we could manage those.
Oh yeah, because some of them it's just nest. Some of them you can hand pull, you can dig. Others need herbicide. That's just the best way to kill some of these things. Well, quickly and meaningfully. But yeah, I think that answers all of my questions. That was pretty much the only question I had, kind of what to expect typically.
Yeah.
But that sounds good.
Okay. All right, Dan, take it away.
Hey, okay. I would like to make a motion to elect Hazel Ortiz to the Conservation Commission. Do you know which her term would be expiring for the open seat?
Ooh, I mean, we've got like 3 open seats.
Oh, you do? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, okay. No, you took one. Well,
okay.
How many? There's supposed to be 7.
1, 2.
Well, you just made us 5, so there's 2 open seats.
Okay.
Right? How long are you with us, Dan? I guess is the question.
I don't know. I didn't ask. I just went in there and got sworn in. I didn't really. I should have paid attention today.
Yeah.
What did I sign myself up for?
Yeah. I guess when you find out, let me know, because then I'll update. We have to update our website and on My Town Government, update all the names of who's on the commission.
I'm just going to pull up what we have for open seats vacant. We have one that goes to 2025. Would you like that seat? For the seat that goes to 2025.
Sounds good to me.
All right. All right. It's fiscal year, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
So basically a year, and then you can, renew.
Please renew. All right. So we had a motion made. Anyone like to second that motion?
Second.
All right, great. All right. Okay, so we'll vote unless anyone has any other comments or questions. No. All right, Jake.
Oh, aye.
All right. Kathleen is gone. Dan.
Yes. Aye.
Yeah. Okay. Lexi?
Aye.
And myself, aye. Okay. I didn't miss anybody, did I? Because I know Kathleen's gone. Jake, Dan. My notes are all kinds of screwed up at the moment.
Excuse me, Brittany?
Yes, yes.
Do you want me to forward the commission's action to the town administrator, or you want to do it?
I don't mind. I can do it. That's fine.
Okay. I think it should come from the chair, but I'm just double checking.
Yeah, no, I will do it. Yep. Okay, so I think what we will be doing, Hazel, is we're going to forward our recommendation to the select board, and then you would just need to go in front of them to get formally appointed.
And I'll be notified of like when.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Dan, how soon? Dan is also on the select board. Do Do you know when that meeting would be that she would be appointed? You looking? Oh, we
Oh,
can't.
sorry.
Hear you. Oh, there you are.
Oh yeah. So the 12th, just let Scott know, the 12th at 6 o'clock, that select board meeting is when we'll do the election at the, or appointment at the, select board meeting.
Okay, I'm sorry. You said the 12th at what time? 6?
6 o'clock. So he can add it to the agenda.
Okay. Okay. And then after that, Hazel, you would just have to make an appointment with the town clerk to officially get sworn in. And then you are a voting member.
Okay.
They just make you jump through a couple hoops.
No problem. For the meeting on the 12th, is that virtual or no?
No, that's in person.
Okay, where?
At the town hall, first floor meeting room. So you walk in, you turn right, and walk down the hall.
Okay.
Okay. All right. All right, wonderful. We'd love to have you, Hazel. Thank you so much for sticking it out tonight.
No problem. Thanks for this information.
Right. And yeah, in the meantime, if you have any questions or anything, just I think you have all of our emails. You can just certainly reach out.
Sure.
All right. And our other candidate, he was here in the beginning, but I think he probably had to leave. So I'll touch base with him. But otherwise, it looks like we're moving on to property work elsewhere. Manhan Meadows. So on February 10th, Diana Fetterman, Jake, myself, and Kathleen all met and we looked at the proposed trail reroute and spread the remaining seed mixture. We did note area of previous invasive management and then current areas of concern were noted. Jake, did you want to add anything else to that update?
Yeah, perhaps not in the form of an update. The contractor, Ruby Environmental from last year, reached out to me asking if we were interested in doing another contract with them. Yeah. But under Marla as chair, we had kind of talked about pausing the contracts we had been doing for invasive species removal, which was costing just under $10,000 per annual treatment. To think about potentially using the other supplemental environmental project money for other stuff, but we never figured out what that other stuff was. So we could continue to contract Ruby Environmental if we were interested. We could maybe point them in another invasive ridden property, or maybe we could think about spending what I think is like $40,000 elsewhere.
Is there a time limit on that money? I can't remember.
It's not a grant, so we don't have to do that. We do have to report back annually to DEP to let them know that we're working on it. And so we have sent our last annual report. We were a little late on that. They're excited about the work we're doing with invasive plant removal. I think the invasive plant removal would really benefit from some hands-on volunteer mechanical removal.
Let's do it.
Yeah. If we could coordinate just a field day where we go out there and really just like level the multifloral rows, I think that would be a huge impact. And that was kind of the agreement I had with Ruby Environmental, saying like, hey, if you spray it, we'll knock it down. And they had done some mechanical leveling.
Yeah. I like that idea. I mean, it would be nice to kind of do it now while we don't have white stuff on the ground.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about the time of year, trying to remember what their preference was for spraying. It has to have leafed out, so it's still a good time for mechanical removal.
Yeah. Okay.
So is that? I don't think it's something formally we need to organize. If you send it out, like when you want to do it, we can just let a lot of people know and show up, and we'll get it done. You know?
Yeah, what channels do we have for that? I'm not really plugged into the community, and I don't know if it's something that our open space folks would like to do. But it'd be interesting if we got some more of those. Like you saw the site that I had, a couple of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the new Trailblazers group would probably be interested.
Absolutely.
They, I don't know if did you guys receive that email from them?
Yep.
Okay, Jake, did you?
I don't think so.
Okay, I can forward it.
Okay.
But yeah, they had like they just formed. They had a rough agenda item, and I mean, one of them is definitely as a priority dealing with invasives and trying to get volunteers. So maybe while they're motivated.
Yeah, I mean, this could be good to inspire them. Manhan Meadows is a mess. I almost bought a chainsaw after leaving there last time.
Yeah. Oh, I've got 4 chainsaws. They're all yours, buddy.
Oh my!
All right, I'm gonna call Dan next time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a big tree that needs to fell. Let's not.
For sure.
It's not even a tree at this point. It's just like a snag.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
I don't know. Do you guys want to just, Jake, whatever you sent out last time worked as far as like a survey of when people are available? I don't know if you want to do something like that, or if we want to just come back around to this at our next meeting 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, let me think about it. This time of year, spring is always so busy for me.
Yeah.
I almost want to just do it on a weekday and take a personal day from work just to get it done.
Okay.
So maybe I'll consider that. Depending on what people are amenable to. It'd be nice to go out with like a team of 3 minimum, maybe maximum like 6.
Okay.
If we were to buy this equipment, that would help a lot. Should I make a motion around buying this equipment?
Yeah.
Let me see if I can even. It's not a weed wrench. It's like a mechanical weed whacker.
Oh, we have one of those wrenches. I know we used it last time we were cleaning out down on what's that road called? I forget the name. One of the properties in town.
Yeah. For what the consultant has advised us to do for weed removal, he says just chop and drop. If disturbing the soil might, make it worse.
So just cutting it at soil level?
Yeah.
And then leaving it there.
So how would I've never bought anything for the Conservation Commission. How does that usually work?
That's a great question.
I bought things for the Park Commission before when I was on that. And I'd buy it and they would build a town. So I bought it from like a sign company. I wasn't buying it from like Arbishans or something. But we could buy stuff from like Amazon because the town has an Amazon account. So they might have an Arbishans account too. I know they have like a Flurry Lumber account. So if they have an account,
you could always ask. I mean, Lexi could always ask Art because when we bought like all those medallions and things for the property, I don't know.
Yeah, if they have an account set up with the company, then they can just bill them. So ask Scott who we have an account with that we can buy one of those.
Is Scott the new town administrator?
Yeah.
Oh, was that him on the meeting?
Saybeck, yeah.
Oh, that was him. Okay.
Oh, that was him. Okay.
Yeah, that's him.
Oh no. Feel bad. Okay.
Scott is a great guy.
Okay. That's who that was. You should have introduced us.
Yeah.
I wish I knew that. I would have liked to say hi.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this is great. We should get all the equipment we need to get. So just if we have that set up with like an Agway or Arbishans or whatever store.
Well, we do have a Flurry Lumber account.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Which we should know that information. Probably in some old minutes because we do have a couple accounts at places.
So this would not come out of the Concom budget. This is.
It comes out of the Concom budget, but because it's an account, they buy it against the account. Mm-hmm. So you just go in and you tell them the account number, and then they charge the town, and then when it gets to the accountant, they know what account to hit. So,
Jake,
I know I've gone to Flurry and bought nails and such, and just provided the receipt and told Flurry the account number and yada, yada. It took care of itself somehow.
Okay.
Excuse me, Jake.
Yes.
We have opened an account where I can order stuff from Amazon if that's on Amazon.
Okay.
Just
I'd
send
like
it
to
to me
see-
and I'll see what we can do.
All right. Yeah. Let me see if I can find one that feels like good quality on Amazon.
Okay.
Thank you, George.
Okay.
And I'll yield the rest of my time. I mean, okay, never mind. There was this question about whether or not we should hire the consultant again. Is that something we want to do?
I mean, I'm for it.
The only other project I saw that was sort of in the works, and there are really too many cooks in the kitchen for this, was just general property improvement at Zipta Farms.
Yeah.
I feel like we really do owe it to our tenants to improve the quality of that as like leased farmland. And there's a lot happening there.
There's so much.
There's a lot happening there. Like they need like roads and grading and invasives and potentially some new culverts and stuff. So I mean, I think we should consider earmarking some of that to get a project started somehow. But it's, I don't know, it's pretty complicated with the number of players involved.
Yeah.
Sounds like you already have this invasive thing teed up. So let's go with it and get the next project running and we'll figure out where to get the money for it.
Okay. Yeah, I like that logic. It makes it simple.
Yeah, because we're ready to go. We can make it happen. So I guess I would like to make a motion that we move forward with the funding of the invasive species removal company, whatever their name is.
That basically, like, do we need more specifics? Because
we have a contract with them. What do we have?
So we don't have a contract with them yet. We've been doing annual contracts under 10,000. So the motion would be to.
I'll withdraw my motion and Jake will make the motion.
I think we have to keep it under 10,000. Is that a thing?
Yeah. Otherwise, we do an RFR.
Right. Yeah. So like a motion to renew a contract with Ruby Environmental for up to 10,000 for invasives management.
Just under 10,000. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Just under 10,000. Okay. All right. Made by Jake. No. That's fine. I mean, it's fine.
Jake.
I just wanted to get the wording right.
Yeah, absolutely. I withdraw my motion. Let's go with Jake's motion. I'll second his motion.
Oh my gosh.
Is that right? I think
yeah. Yeah, it's fine.
All right. Hang on. Hey.
Motion to hire Ruby Environmental in calendar year 2024 for just under $10,000.
Second.
I did. I got it. How many energy drinks did you have today?
This is me normally. Sorry. You're going to regret having me on the committee.
Okay. Just under.
I'm going to call you about that chainsaw.
Absolutely. Yeah. Stop by, man. I got stuff.
We want to specify it manhand, right?
Not necessarily. I mean, because we left it sort of open.
Okay.
The money that we're working under is kind of open for all conservation areas. We have like a proposal that includes SIPTA and other stuff. We have a whole plan that Megan and I came up with.
You're welcome to use any of the tools in my shed. I got all the stuff.
Cool. It's kind of a scary tree, so I gotta size it up first. But
all right. Lexi, any comments, questions, concerns?
Nope, no comments.
Okay. All right, then we will vote on it. Jake?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
Lexi?
Aye.
And myself? Aye. Okay. Awesome. Oh, all right. Do we have any updates from other boards?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
I have received copies of the approved A&R lots from the planning board. There's 3 of them. 2 are outside jurisdiction. 1 may have an issue. That's at 45 Cook Road, which is right on the Southampton Holyoke line.
Right.
I have been dealing with the property owners via email quite extensively. I've inspected the property, and it looks like there will be a notice required for a new house and septic system.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember that one coming before the planning board. It's one we didn't know there was an A&R in the property.
Pardon me?
There was a conservation restriction or a A&R. There's something on that property that we didn't know about until afterwards. So
What, the one on Cook Road?
Yeah.
I'll check on it.
Cook Road.
All right. That it for that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So we're up to reviewing minutes from February 5th.
I've reviewed the minutes and I find them to be sufficient and accurate.
Okay.
Motion to accept the minutes as written.
Okay.
Second.
Right. Oh God. It's getting late. Okay. My computer is overheating. Right. Okay. We'll vote on that. Jake?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
Oops. Lexi?
Aye.
And myself, aye. Okay. I don't think there's any correspondence that we need to discuss. And is there any other necessary business that cannot wait the March 18th meeting? Going once, going twice. All right. Any site visits that we should know about? George, anything of note?
No.
Okay, great. All right. If there's nothing else, would anyone like to make a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. All right. Jake.
Aye.
Adjourning motion. Okay. Dan.
Aye.
Lexi.
Aye.
Myself. Aye. Thanks, guys.
This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.